engine ignition, and liftoff of the Polaris Dawn mission on the Falcon 9 rocket.
In September, the 4 crew members of the Polaris Dawn mission made history.
Welcome to orbit.
By going to the highest levels of orbit in nearly 60 years and performing the first all-civilian spacewalk.
Commander Jared Isaacman, now emerging.
Jared, is commercial space travel a looming reality for most people?
I certainly think so. A great proof point is while we were in orbit, there were 19 people in orbit at once, which was a record. And 3 years ago, when I went to space for the first time, the record was 14. Now, these may seem like small numbers, but they're steps in the right direction.
But to keep moving in the right direction, there is still so much to overcome.
About 60% of people flying to space are afflicted by space motion sickness. This really hits you for the first few days.
Anna Menon was the mission's medical officer.
Can you give us some details? What did you experience?
It can be a whole spectrum of experience from, lightheadedness, nausea, all the way to vomiting. I experienced really the whole gamut.
It's because of the lack of gravity that messaging to our brains can go awry, and that can result in motion sickness like side effects. But you should also know that the brain physically changes during space travel. Look here. It shifts up ever so slightly in the skull, and the fluids surrounding and protecting the brain expand.
It's a very austere environment. We're all going to be susceptible to something. For me, it was kind of this mild headache that I had to deal with that was perpetual for a majority of the mission.
Scott Poteet was the mission's pilot. What he noticed were changes in his vision.
More or less, my vision acuity started to deteriorate those first few days, but immediately came back once I came back to Earth.
50 to 70% of astronauts, after spending periods of time on the International Space Station, have degradation in their vision.
Dr. Donna Roberts has spent more than 20 years with NASA trying to understand why symptoms like that occur.
We've been analyzing MRI brain scans of astronauts that were obtained before they went into space and then sometime after they landed back on Earth.
What you're seeing is an exclusive look at the post-flight health data collection the Polaris team underwent, testing everything from their balance and their vision, as well as the imaging of their brains.
One of the unique aspects of this mission is the astronauts went deeper into space than astronauts have been since the Apollo days and more exposure to radiation. And so the question could have been, was there any evidence of radiation injury? And we're not seeing that on the initial look at these images. So that's a really good thing.
Do you think we're getting to the point where humans could reliably live on space station or even a different planet?
There's so much that changes when you're actually in microgravity. That's not how we evolved. But I think that really just underscores the importance to me of the research we are doing, the data we're collecting that can then feed into how do we solve some of these challenges? How do we enable so many more people to get to space?
It's that sort of research and data that might lead to another giant leap for mankind. Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN, reporting.